Have you ever wondered why some people seem to make lasting changes so effortlessly while others struggle for years? Or why you keep repeating the same behaviors even when you know better? Well, you're not alone, and the answer lies in something we often overlook: our habits. In today's video, we're diving deep into one of the most influential books on personal transformation, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It's not just about breaking bad habits or building good ones. It's about understanding how your brain works, how routines shape your life, and how small changes can lead to massive results. But don't just expect a summary, this is a full breakdown. We'll walk through real examples, science-backed insights, and practical strategies you can apply today. Here's how we'll explore this life-changing book, broken down into 5 key sections. 1. Understanding the habit loop. Learn how every habit follows a predictable pattern, cue, routine, and reward, and how this loop controls our behavior more than we realize. 2. The science behind habit formation. Discover the brain mechanics of why habits become automatic and how to use this knowledge to your advantage. 3. The power of keystone habits. Find out how changing just one core habit can create a domino effect in your health, productivity, and relationships. 4. Habits in organizations and societies. See how powerful habits run not only our personal lives, but entire companies and communities, with examples that might surprise you. 5. How to change habits. Finally, the most actionable part, a step-by-step guide on how to identify, replace, and sustain new habits for life. So stay tuned, because every section builds on the last, and by the end, you'll understand how to take back control of your routines and create lasting change. Ready to break the cycle and build a better life? Let's get started. Section 1. What are habits and why do they matter? Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a habit? According to Charles Duhigg, habits are behaviors that our brains turn into automatic routines. They're the mental shortcuts that save us time and energy. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready for the day without consciously thinking about any of it. That's habit in action, your brain on autopilot. But why does the brain do this? Simply put, habits help us conserve mental energy. Instead of deciding every single action throughout the day, our brains store these routines so we can focus on more complex problems. Duhigg explains this through a simple neurological loop he calls the habit loop, which consists of 3 parts. 1. Cue, the trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode. 2. Routine, the behavior itself, what you do. 3. Reward, the positive reinforcement that tells your brain this loop is worth remembering. Think about your morning coffee ritual. The smell of coffee, cue, triggers you to brew and drink it, routine, and the caffeine boost and comfort you feel, reward, reinforce the habit. Here's a question for you. What's one habit in your life that you didn't even realize was automatic? Write it down in the comments below. Don't move on yet. In the next section, we'll explore how habits are more powerful than you think and why some habits are impossible to break unless you understand the loop. Section 2. The habit loop, your brain's secret weapon. The habit loop is fascinating because it reveals that habits aren't just random behaviors, they are predictable and therefore changeable. Duhigg shares the story of Eugene Pauly, a man who lost his memory but could still perform habitual actions like making coffee. Even without memory, his brain held on to habits, showing how deeply ingrained they are. Here's a powerful insight. You can't simply extinguish a habit, you have to change the routine within the loop. That means the cue and reward often stay the same, but the behavior shifts. For example, if you want to stop snacking on junk food when stressed, cue, instead of eating chips, routine, you might try going for a quick walk while still giving yourself the reward of stress relief. This is called the golden rule of habit change. Keep the cue and reward the same, but change the routine. Take a real-life example from the book, the story of how a woman named Lisa Allen used this approach to transform her life. She stopped smoking, lost weight, and went back to school, all by focusing on altering her habits step by step. Here's a question for you to ponder. What cues are triggering your bad habits? Recognizing them is the first step to change. If you're still watching, you've made it this far amazing, because the next part dives into the science behind willpower and why understanding it can make or break your habit transformation. Section 3. Willpower, the muscle behind habit change. Have you ever felt like your willpower just runs out? Like no matter how hard you try, by the end of the day, you give in to temptation? Duhigg calls willpower a muscle, something you can strengthen, but it can also get exhausted if overused. This idea comes from fascinating experiments showing that people who have stronger self-control in one area of life tend to do better overall at work, relationships, and health. Here's a real-world example. In a famous marshmallow test, children who resisted eating a marshmallow immediately were found to be more successful later in life. But what does this mean for your habits? Willpower isn't just about brute force. It's about building routines that reduce the need for constant self-control. For instance, if you want to eat healthier, you might remove junk food from your home so you don't have to fight cravings constantly. That's designing your environment to support your habits. Here's a crucial insight. Your brain will default to habits when willpower is low. So building good habits actually preserves willpower for moments when you really need it. Are you curious how companies use this science to influence consumer habits? Stay tuned next. We'll uncover some shocking examples of habit science in business. Section 4. How habits shape organizations and societies. Habits don't just shape individual lives. They shape entire companies, communities, and societies. Duhigg tells the story of Alcoa, a struggling aluminum company that transformed itself by focusing obsessively on safety habits. When CEO Paul O'Neill made worker safety the #1 priority, it wasn't just about avoiding accidents, it reshaped the company culture and boosted productivity. This story shows how keystone habits, habits that trigger widespread changes, can influence everything else around them. On a broader scale, movements like the civil rights movement succeeded because leaders understood the power of social habits, the collective routines, rituals, and peer pressure that drive change. Here's a question for you. What's a keystone habit in your life that, if changed, could positively affect many areas? If you think this is just about big companies and movements, think again. You'll see how your personal life can be transformed by identifying your own keystone habits in the next section. Section 5. Keystone habits and how to build new ones. Keystone habits are the ones that have the power to start a chain reaction and influence other behaviors. For example, regular exercise is a keystone habit. People who start working out often improve their diet, sleep better, and feel more productive at work. Duhigg highlights the story of a man named Mike who turned his life around after committing to daily exercise, which led to better habits in other areas. The key takeaway is this: focus on changing or adopting one keystone habit, and you can transform your whole life. So how do you build new habits? The process involves identifying the cue that triggers the habit, defining the routine you want to build, making sure there's a reward that satisfies your brain. A great example is the success of Starbucks employee training programs, where they teach employees willpower and self-discipline habit skills that improve both work and life. Remember, habit change is not instant. It's a process, often requiring patience, repetition, and a clear understanding of your triggers. Your habit journey starts now. So there we are, we've journeyed through the 5 most powerful insights from The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. We started by unlocking the habit loop, understanding that every habit starts with a cue, followed by a routine, and ends with a reward. Then we went deeper into the science of how habits are formed, discovering that our brains actually crave these loops because they free up mental space for other decisions. From there we uncovered the game-changing concept of keystone habits, those few habits that, once changed, spark a ripple effect across every area of your life. We saw how organizations and societies are driven by collective habits, often invisible but deeply powerful. And finally, we landed where it matters most: how to change habits. With the right mindset, small steps, and consistent practice, you can rewrite your patterns and reshape your life. Now here's the most important part. What habit do you want to change first? Let that be your starting point. Small hinges swing big doors. If this video gave you even one breakthrough, go ahead, like it, subscribe to the channel for more book insights, and grab your copy of The Power of Habit from the link in the description. It's a book that will stay with you for life. And one last thing, comment below. What's one habit you've changed that made the biggest impact on your life? Your story could inspire someone else watching this right now. Thanks for being here. Keep growing, keep showing up, and keep building the habits that build the life you love. Until next time.